I never told you what my coaching announcement was last week. So
I knew after the podcast. I'm like, he never said.
Somebody who listened, I think it was Chris Coleman, was like, did I miss something on the podcast? I'm like, dude, I totally forgot. I should have wrote it down. So I'll get to that right in the beginning. And then pretty straightforward, right? NFL review, NFL preview, or overreactions that aren't. College football review. We could talk Nebraska. That we could throw the Nebraska stuff in there. You think probably a good spot?
Sure.
And then we got our college football preview. We got our best bets. We got our bet record, which I'd rather skip over. When you got to go undefeated just to break to get back to 50%, it's
and we had a head-to-head in there that you blew too. That's even better.
No, not so fast, my friend. Went right down the shitter. And then our 80s, right? Then that's it. That's all.
That's it. That's all we got.
Let me press record. Give it a second to
good idea.
To run. Yeah. Sometimes
you're with it today. You're with it today. I could tell.
I got out of school on time. I got the kids on time. I got here on time. I had everything in order. I had to get back in the groove of being in school. When you get 2 months off.
I get it.
I tell people all the time, I never complain about my job to non-teachers. Because my day is, I literally leave work at 2:10, because they start early now. I start at 7:10. I gotta be there. So I leave at 2:10. I'm like, people are getting off lunch as I'm on my way home.
Yeah.
And then a lot of teachers were complaining because our last day of school in June was the 27th, which is pretty late. But I got 2 months off. Like, nobody wants to hear, I get 2 months in a week, not 2.5 months off. So I don't do the complain thing.
It's good idea.
You know what I'm saying? To my teacher friends, I'll complain. To regular folks, not so much. What's up, everybody, and welcome to Bump and Run. I'm Pete Colasano, joined as always by my good friend Scott Bracey. After the first week of the NFL, what's going on, dude?
Good afternoon, sir. How are you today?
I am doing good. I got to be honest with you. I don't know which I'm more excited about, going over the games from last week or talking about the games that are coming this week, because there's a handful of them starting tonight specifically on Thursday, which look fantastic. We got a lot to get to today. There's one specific segment that we'll be doing today I'm not exactly looking forward to, but we keep it straight around here. We tell the truth around here. We don't lie, and we acknowledge when we may have, veered off the beaten path a little. Or
I don't know what it smells like in Atlantic City, but I smell an Ophir around here.
That's the smell of rotten eggs, and we'll get to that. If you remember last week, dude, I teased in the beginning of the podcast last week that I had a huge announcement about coaching. A coaching endeavor that I'm entering this year, and then neglected to announce the actual coaching endeavor. We had hundreds of comments and emails rolling in this past week about, well, what's the announcement? So I'll get to that right now. I was lassoed into coaching fall baseball this year by some of the gentlemen that run the league. They remember a spring and summer ago, that I, victoriously led our team to a championship. And they said, hey, we can't get anybody to coach. Would you be interested? And I reluctantly said yes. So I'll be coaching fall baseball this year for, I guess they are like 10 and 11-year-olds or 11 or under 12, or whatever the hell they are. And I'll be giving you updates. I'll be giving you like a weekly update.
So now that we get into fall and we put the Italian ice on the side, what's the
well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I knew this was coming, so I figured I'd address this right up front. All right. Fall baseball is a little more, we'll call it relaxed. Yes. There are some baseball players that are playing football or playing soccer, so they're not playing baseball. It's more of, we'll call it like a developmental league.
I like that.
Which kind of surprises me that these guys, these gentlemen, these are good men that are all about development. And I'm surprised they asked me, because they know
You're a lunatic?
I'm just about winning. Yeah, I just want to win. Yeah, no, absolutely. You're 100% right. So this will be a challenge for me as well. I'll give you a quick story of just that already happened because we've had 2 practices. So 2 practices and we already got a game on Saturday. Like, good luck, right? You know, I'm going to be losing my mind on the field. After the first practice, we're walking off the field and my son, Peter Richard, kind of turns to me and he goes, "Hey, Dad." I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Kind of went at it a little hard today, didn't you?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "You just were really going hard today." I'm like, "Dude, you asked me to coach." I said,
I got one speed.
You know how I do it. I said, practices are meant to be hard and games are meant to be fun. That's just the way I do it. I said, "Did you think it was too hard?" He said, "No, but it was a lot for the first day." I'm like, "Well, we got 2 practices before our first game. What the hell do you want from me? And you ain't getting any ice cream." So that's that. So everybody who's wondering what kind of snacks I'll be handing out, there won't be any. And that's that.
You got to get a jumbo bucket of seeds. You got to do something for the kids. Come on. Too young for dip? Yeah, I guess too young for dip. 12 years old.
Why don't we get to our NFL review? It was a crazy week in the NFL. Boy, they didn't waste any time giving us like 100 different storylines. So why don't you take us down the rundown here?
So I'm going to start with a little Pete Calisano pat me on my back kind of segment. Last Thursday night, opening game, the Buffalo Bills went to L.A., and you thought the spread was a little wacky, and I kind of did not. And I was pretty proven right by the half.
Yeah.
That game could have been uglier than it was.
You're 100% correct.
The Bills smoked the Rams 31-10, I believe the score was, and the Rams have a lot of issues.
Yeah, it was 10-7 at the half. And all I can think of is, like, if you didn't watch the first half and you just saw the score, you're like, wow, this must be a really close game. This game was so close that Buffalo didn't punt. Okay, there was 2 interceptions that neither one of them should have been interceptions. They were one of them went right through the receiver's hands. Another one like bounced off a helmet, whatever. It was nonsense turnovers. Buffalo didn't punt. And all I can think of at halftime was, boy, this would be a beautiful halftime bet because it looks like a close game. But if you're watching the game, even though it was 10-7, Buffalo was dominating. And the Rams looked like they were kind of sleepwalking. That didn't look like a championship team. And we'll get to some overreactions later, but that's an easy one to overreact and go, oh, my God, it was like they didn't even feel like being there. Like the Rams just looked disinterested.
Yeah, they did.
Matthew Stafford missing wide open guys by like 6-7 yards. I mean, there was one crossing route. I can't remember who the hell he was throwing to. There was one kind of crossing route. It wasn't even that deep. It was like 10, 12-yard crossing kind of in the first half. He missed them so badly the receiver didn't even get a hand on the ball. Like he missed them by like 6 or 7 yards. He wasn't even covered. Defense was weak. Buffalo gets the ball right off the bat and they go right down and score. That's how it looked to me. Buffalo looked like a team possessed that's out. And this is the kind of thing we talked about a little bit, at least, was Buffalo going to come out hungry or was Buffalo going to be a little shell-shocked from the way their season ended last year? Well, that question was certainly answered. They came out super hungry. And your friend over there, Von Miller.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
I didn't know if that was a good signing or not. He's getting a little long in the tooth. They gave him a lot of money over a bunch of years. Holy shit, did he make a difference in that game?
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Yeah, not too happy with him, watching him still be very, very good. Stafford's elbow problem?
We'll see about that. Is it Stafford's elbow is still hurting him, or is it a matter of he didn't practice much because of the elbow and now the timing is off?
Well, either way, none of it's good because I don't think the elbow's going to get better.
There was almost nothing good to say about the Rams in this game. Jalen Ramsey got burnt to shit. I mean, he was crispy bacon.
Cooper Kupp's awesome. That's it.
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
But it was the good stuff was few and far between. It was pretty thin. And it was about as dominating a performance as you're going to see against a Super Bowl champion in the first game of the friggin' season.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, holy shit.
Let's go to another pat on our back moment. I know there's a lot of factors here, but Trey Lance and the Niners go to Chicago in a monsoon and look ugly.
Dude, first of all, you and I have been, I'm going to just say honest. We have been honest and fair, unlike the rest of the sports media. We have been honest and fair about both Justin Fields and Trey Lance. You have more animosity, we'll say, towards Justin Fields because he's an Ohio State guy. But neither of us has any kind of agenda against either of these guys. We're just talking about what we've seen. And now You want to give him the benefit of the doubt because it was a freaking monsoon and it was probably hard to throw the ball, hard to hold the ball. Okay, but can you show me the game where that wasn't the case? Like where they put up monster numbers? There's no evidence for either of those guys yet in their careers. And I think Justin Fields was 9 of 18, or it might even have been worse, 9 of 20 or for 110. It was bad. I'll give him a little bit of a break on the weather for sure, but Trey Lance, to me, it was an even worse look. I mean, he threw like a 5-yard out at one point that just went right at the receiver's feet. It was ugly, and you got a much better team. Trey Lance has a significantly better team. The Bears are bad. That's a bad football team, especially on offense. And San Fran just wasn't able to do anything. So, and what, dude? You want to pat ourselves on the back? What did we say? We thought maybe we're being kind of generous, and we thought, hey, what if they're like 1-4 after week 5? Well, after week 1, you already have the people chirping about whether or not Jimmy G should be on the field. Like It didn't even there has become a point, and it's almost to a point of absurdity, because even we were like, you got to give it a few weeks. You can't just, it's the first week. The absurdity that after 1 week you're already looking for your backup, like it's just crazy. But maybe the absurdity was that you're benching a guy who took you to the NFC Championship game. Maybe that's where the real absurdity is that you're so high on what you perceive to be talent, you're walking away from what you know are wins. I think that is what we looked at, you and I specifically. We said, Jimmy G wins you games. This kid is more talented. There are more physical traits that you see with Trey Lance, right? There's just no question about it. Stronger arm, more athletic, bigger, stronger. But you lost. And we've said this a million times. Shanahan's record without Jimmy G at quarterback is piss poor. It is significantly below 500. And that just continues now. We shall see.
For a pretty good wacky week 1, this might take the cake. Steelers at Bengals.
Oh my God. So this was one of 1, 2. I think there were 3 games during the 1 o'clock games that were like either overtime, almost overtime, or like last second kick, missed field goals. I don't know what
you
to
can't
take.
Even talk
because it was just like I was at my cousin's house and I'm like, what? Like it was kind of like a garden variety 1 o'clock games through 3 quarters. And then, as usual in the NFL, all friggin'
the witching hour comes, and then it's bananas.
Exactly. All hell breaks loose. And I actually sat there at one point and said, what am I watching? I think it was this Steelers game where the kicker, I think it was for the Steelers, going for a game-winning kick. The kick curved twice.
Yeah.
It started going left, then it came back to the right, and then it hit the upright. And I'm like, this is bananas town. Oh, by the way, one of our favorite quarterbacks, Joe Burrow, had 5 turnovers in this game. Like, it just was crazy.
That kick looked like a Calisano 3 would. It was like,
oh my, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, yeah.
It really did go in 2 directions. I didn't know if football could do that, actually, but it did. But Joe Burrow didn't look good. Something that you brought up that was a good point coming into the season was that we thought that Cincinnati made the necessary upgrades on the offensive line to help protect Joe Burrow. It certainly hasn't shown yet.
No.
So
and I got to tell you, I'm not killing the Bengal defense. Burrow put them in bad positions all day.
5 turnovers. Oh. I mean, 5 turnovers is 5 turnovers. That's how many possessions do you get in a game? 15, 16, and 5 of them are turnovers?
They lose their snapper, and then they miss the extra point to win it in regulation, like a high snap.
Yes. What's even crazier is that, you get those 5 turnovers, and yet, frankly, they probably should have won the game.
I know.
They had opportunities to win the game. They were right there with a chance to win the game. So, what were your thoughts on Trubisky?
I thought he was fine. One thing I didn't understand is they got Chase Claypool. I saw at least with my own eyes, and I was only watching Red Zone, 4 reverses at least. Like, what are you doing with him? Like, running reverses. I mean, Harris goes down early again. I mean, that looks like a problem all year. Now he's got 2 bad feet.
Yeah.
That's going to hurt Trubisky or Pickett, no matter who the quarterback is. So that's just They lose TJ Watt for at least 4 or 5.
That's a tough one.
Tremendous blow. He's probably the best defensive player in the league.
That's a tough one, and even more so because they're reliant on they're going to be really reliant on their defense. And that's why it's funny you say that, because I was going to say the one thing I know is I thought Trubisky played fine. I thought he actually looked pretty good. But in the fourth quarter, they just kind of they shut him down. Like the play calling changed. They became,
yes.
I get it. You're trying to just end the game, but you almost lost the game because you stopped playing football.
Yeah.
Like he played really, I shouldn't say really well. He played sufficient for 3 quarters. Let it keep going. Like finish the game. You almost blew it because you kind of went into your turtle shell.
They're going to have to trust him more now, regardless.
You have to.
We'll see going forward.
You have to. And now you're 1-0. You got to be at least thinking, hey,
1-0 playing a bad Patriot team. So
you could walk out of there 2-0. You got to let these guys play. I mean, you signed him.
Yeah.
You thought he was good enough to be your starter. You gave him the starting job over to rookie. Then let him play. Let him finish the game. Like that. That to me. Now, I look at Tomlin and I say he's the kind of guy that would make that adjustment and say, we can't do that. You can't just do that. You got to let him. You got to play. You got to play all the way through. You can't just shut it down at the end of the third quarter. So, but it was a crazy game. Wow. It was a crazy game, man.
Our adopted team, the Detroit Lions, familiar, hang around, take an early lead, lose them by 20, come back and by 3 with the ball, and then just fall short again. Yeah. I hope this isn't a trend that happens another year, but it's not a great start.
Yeah, well, the good thing for them is that their offense looks to be really on track.
Yeah,
Goff playing okay, running game. They scored some points. 38-35 sounds like a really close game. They were down by 2 touchdowns with 6 or 7 minutes left, something like that, and they scored 2 late touchdowns. Now with that said, the Eagles had to get a late first down with little less than a minute and a half left to ice the game. But if they didn't get that first down, Detroit would have had the ball with a chance to win. So, I mean, it is a legit, comeback, but you don't want to be down by 17 points in the fourth quarter. Although there was another team down by 17 in the fourth quarter that did make a comeback. So
they passed the eye test to me. Just, it looks like they have a lot more talent on the team, both sides of the ball. Goff looks
defensively, they need some help. I mean,
yeah,
I know the Eagles are improved and they're a decent team, but I don't know that you should be giving up 38 points at home.
Their secondary is not great.
It's not great. That's 100%. Listen, that's a bad football team that had a lot of holes. They clearly filled some of them. It's a really, really difficult in the NFL to fill all your gaps if you're a bad team. If you're picking in the top 10, to put a really competitive team on a field the following year is not easy. It's not easy. Like you got a lot of holes if you're picking in the top 5,
Yeah. I'll hit the one that you're talking about now. A team that made a comeback and a team that played not to lose. The Atlanta Falcons blow a 16-point lead. Man, the Falcons are the king of blowing fucking double-digit leads, huh?
God, with Matty Ice, without Matty Ice, doesn't matter.
And Mariota, I thought Mariota played well.
Thought he looked okay. Yeah, I thought he looked okay. Was running around, was mobile, making nice throws. Just you know what it was? I looked at it and I'm like, you're looking at scores and you're like, wow, that's an upset. Wow, that's an upset. Wow, that's an upset. And then bad teams that were winning started playing bad.
Yeah.
And the good teams that were losing played better. And all those games closed. There was another one. There was a 17-point comeback, which the Colts game.
That's our next on our list.
Yeah. Bad teams went back. It's almost like your culture takes over. We're supposed to be bad. This is crazy. So instead of just keeping there were other games, I'm sure you're going to bring them up, where teams they kept the Chiefs. I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit. They kept their foot on the gas. You know what I mean? They left, no doubt. And bad teams, Atlanta, we'll talk about Houston, you get a lead and you're like, shit, we just need to hold on. It's no, you need to keep going. You need to lay it on thick and leave no doubt. You know what I mean? Atlanta is a perfect example of not doing that.
Colts, that
was against New Orleans, right? Was that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And now, one of our true or false last week was, I think it was, will Jameis Winston throw for 25 touchdowns or more? I mean, I think he threw for either the second half or the fourth quarter. He had over 200 yards passing and a couple touchdowns. When Jameis isn't just turning the ball over all over the place, he's productive as shit, man.
And he throws a pretty ball, too.
He does. A very catchable ball, too, man. He doesn't overthrow it.
Michael Thomas looked great, alive. And
I tell you what.
So, yeah, we'll see.
If you can keep the harness on Jameis Winston, that he's dangerous, dude. It just is what it is. He's not afraid to push the ball down the field to take those kind of risks. Now, those risks lead to too many turnovers a lot of times, but when it's just a little more controlled, boy, I tell you what, he's a productive quarterback, man. There's just no two ways about it. He's a little strange. He's a little strange, but he's productive as shit. It just is what it is.
The Colts last year, we were high on them. They started 1-4, something. They had to come all the way back. Then they take a lead. Then they blow it at the end. This first game was the definition of their season last year. They get down 20-3. They come
against
all the way
Houston.
back. They got against Houston. They come all the way back. They got a chance to win it. Blankenship blows the kick and then gets his walking papers after that. See you later, sir.
It's a funny game because you're watching that, and I don't know if you texted me or my cousin said to me like, pay all that money for Matt Ryan doesn't seem to have made a difference. And then 17 points in the fourth quarter. I didn't look and see how many yards he threw for, but it was like 2 touchdowns, 17 points, tie the game up. I look at that and I say, if that was Wentz and they're down 20-3, do they make that comeback? I don't know.
I don't love their weapons. Pittman's good.
Their receivers.
Other than that, I don't like. Yeah, their tight end's he's a decent player, and Taylor's fantastic. But if you're gonna put 989 in a box, dude, no one's gonna do that. So I don't know. Right. Colts have some adjustments to make. I think, man, it's good they didn't lose the game. For like their team record, it fucked me out of a suicide pool. But
what happens in a suicide pool if you
got to win in advance?
It's a lose.
It's a lose. Yeah.
Oh my god! Wow, that really blows.
Yeah, that's a donation.
Yeah, it's a funky one, man, because this is the Colts are one of those teams. I think I'm going to give them a little pass for the first week with the new quarterback and everything because he did make a nice comeback. It's the Houston Texans, though.
I know. It wasn't like the Titans or somebody like these. Yeah, it's like.
I will tell you something that I heard today. I was watching Colin Cowherd today, and he had Greg Cosell on. Greg Cosell mentioned Davis Mills. Now, I'm just telling you, Greg Cosell knows what he knows. He learned from Bill Walsh. Okay, now I look at Bill Walsh as one of my mentors, but solely through books and videos and stuff like that. I never met him, unfortunately. But Greg Cosell learned from Bill Walsh, and he said Davis Mills. He put Davis Mills. He mentioned Davis. Now I don't think he's comparing him, but he mentioned Davis Mills along with Herbert as they were as he's talking about these statuesque, strong-armed, big physical quarterbacks that have some mobility. Herbert definitely has more than Davis Mills. But the reaction, I wish you would have seen it today. I only heard it. He was like, oh, Colin Cowherd was like, oh, when he mentioned Davis Mills. And I'm like, dude, I've been on this fucking train for a year now. I don't want to hear your surprise. You're not doing your job if you don't even know that this guy can play. So I just wanted to bring that up, that I have a lot. When I watch Greg Cosell on that show or anytime on NFL Live or anything like that, the guy knows his shit. He explains
I like him too.
Plays and breaks down players as well as anybody around. So when he's mentioning somebody that we talk about and nobody else is, I'm going to take that as a win. So put that in your pipe.
Not to, we'll get to my team in a minute, but Jets, Patriots, Cardinals, all lay an egg.
Jets defense looks significantly upgraded, but you can't be on the field for 75% of the game. Dude, sooner or later, you're going to get killed.
Just play Mike White. What the fuck's the difference at this point? Flacco's a statue. They see him more than we do. I get it, but dude, oh my god.
Listen, I don't care either way. You can say what you want about whether or not Zach Wilson is ready, and I don't think he is. But your team knows you don't have your starter in. So to me, put Mike White in, put Fleck. I don't give a shit. You need to get Zach Wilson back. Their offense was stagnant. It was embarrassing. Defense looked pretty goddamn good for like 2.5 quarters, but you can't be on the. I don't care who you are.
Nope.
It could be the Legion of Boom from back in the day with Seattle. You can't be on the field for 65-70% of the time. Sooner or later, you're gonna break. No defense can do that. Not a single one. Patriots look bad. I mean, they look bad. And everything, all the concerns that you and I had, all showed their ugly head in that game against
And their old line didn't look good either. They always have a pretty good line.
Bad. So offensively, just in general, play calling, everything was anemic. Mac Jones looked like not good. They're missing McDaniel. They're missing some of those assistants. They're missing that creativity. And one of the things we talked about, has Belichick lost a step and kind of maybe lost his mind a little bit with this idea of not having a true offensive coordinator in there?
Yeah.
I think that might be true.
And you said before, Chiefs pounded the Cardinals. Murray stinks.
That was about as impressive a win as I saw. All the talk from others, not from us, from others, about the Chiefs taking a step back offensively, forget about it. That was one of my picks, too. I thought it would take them a little time. Jesus Christ. They just, right out of the box, 45 points, dominating fashion.
Yeah.
Actually played some decent defense, which is very rare.
Everybody had everyone got a touch. Everyone was happy. Everybody was, oh my God.
Well, your boy Chris Sims today mentioned, he's a little late to the game. We talked about this already, so you should check out our podcast, Chris. But he said, well, maybe they're even more dangerous a team now, because last year and in years past, you can really lock in and say they're going to do their best to get the ball to Tyreek Hill. Now they have 4 guys. And who do you want to double team?
Yep.
You want to double team Scantling? You want to double team Juju? You want to double team Kelsey? Because, they have 4 legitimate. You have an A+ tight end, and then 4 anywhere from B to A- receivers. You don't have any A+ anymore, but when you have all B's and, 1 B and then an A-, A-. Who do you want to double? Go ahead. You want to take Kelsey away? Go ahead. You want to take Juju away? Go ahead. And it was a dominating performance, and Mahomes looked. And I just want to say this one thing about Mahomes. I would take him over any quarterback in the league. That's just me. I would take him. There's not a quarterback in the league. If you can pick between these two, I take Mahomes every time. There's no between his talent, his attitude, and then his creativity. I'd even take him over Josh Allen, and I like Josh Allen a lot. I'd take him over Herbert, and I love Herbert. I'd take him over anybody. There's nobody in this. I would take Patrick Mahomes over anybody in the league. There's not a single guy. And I do that without hesitation.
Giants win a crazy one. Missed field goal for the Titans. They're down 13-0 at the half. Come all the way back. Didn't quit. Daboll's holding Jones accountable. Got in his face. Maybe that's
got in his face a little. Yeah.
Barkley looks healthy. Let's see how long that lasts.
I don't want to get over our skis a little bit on this one, but yeah, Barkley went off. We'll see how that goes going forward. But I tell you what, you're off to a freaking good start. Giants fans should feel good. One of the things I'll say, when you hire a coordinator as your new head coach, you never know what you're getting in the area of leadership. Giants fans should feel really good already.
Yep.
I looked at Daboll. I'm watching that game, on Red Zone, but in the 4:00 games, there's very few games, so I get to see a lot of that game. He looks like the leader of that team. It's undeniable. And for that to happen already, I tell you what, whether Jones is your guy or not, if they end up replacing him or whatever, to me, I don't even think it matters. You have your guy in place. It's funny how something like that, you can see it immediately. It's crystal clear, right? We still have questions about a Robert Saleh or some of these other guys, even Staley out in with the Chargers. With some of the decisions, he's looks like a computer guy, I don't know. You don't look like the man. Remember I talked about before the season, I said, you got to be an alpha. Well, I tell you what, there was no more alpha on the field in that Giants game than Daboll. He was in charge. So Giants fans, if nothing else, I think you got your head coach. It pisses me off because I don't know that I have my head coach.
Derek Carr, I don't think you do. Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers, and Dak, before he got hurt, all looked bad in losses.
Derek Carr had their offensive line is shit, and that's going to be a lingering problem.
Yeah, that's going to kill them.
That's going to be a real problem in an incredibly difficult division. Dak gets hurt. I'm going to pat myself on the back. This also not because he got hurt, but because I said you better know that this guy is worth the $45 million a year, because you're going to be thin on talent. Now he's got to carry you. Before he got hurt, he wasn't carrying shit. It's not like he got hurt.
He was carrying shit. That's the problem.
Yeah. So you're Dallas. You're in trouble in more than one way. I don't think it's possible that he's got screws and whatever in his hand. There's
what are you talking about? 3 weeks, 4 weeks? Yeah, come on,
you're crazy. Man.
Wilson missed 8 last year when he got it in his finger.
Yeah, if I'm him,
in his middle finger, never mind his thumb.
Yeah, so I don't think that's possible. But even if he did, you don't have a very good football team.
No, they're not.
Because
Their defense is okay, but their offense is bad.
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. So,
and you want to touch Packers quick before I move on to one more?
I guess this was the second most impressive win of the weekend of Vikings just dominating Green Bay Packers. I'm not going to try to read too much into that right now because this is exactly how the Packers started the season off last year by getting shit on by New Orleans, and we all know how that turned out for them. But the Vikings have been, over the last couple of years, the kind of team that it seems like everybody wants to believe in. I think this might actually be the year. More so because of their defense. It looks like they finally straightened out a little bit of their defense. So,
and it took Zimmer to leave for that to happen too.
Isn't that crazy?
Right? Yeah,
isn't that crazy?
Last one will hit my boys Monday night. Sloppy from start to finish. I thought Wilson looked fine.
Yeah.
Once he got the wide receivers, their 2-star wide receivers involved, things were moving. 2 fumbles on the goal line, which is fucking bizarre.
Yeah.
But the main topic here is how the rookie head coach handled the end of the game. Settling for a 64-yard field goal on the road, not in Mile High. 4th and 5. You got Russell Wilson for this moment. Let him stick it up Seattle's ass. Let him get to the 30-yard line. Let's kick this thing. Let's get out of here. We'll move on 1-0. That did not happen. Now, I don't know if I like or don't like him taking accountability the next day in the press conference that he should have went for it. Listen, if you went for it,
because his first reaction is his first response was we followed our plan. We did what our plan was. And then it was almost like he heard all the chatter and changed his mind. I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like that either. That's what I mean. Like,
stick by your guns, whatever your reasons are. I'm with you. I don't have as big a problem with it as everybody else does. Because I'm not there. I don't know what their kicker's capable of. I don't know what the coach saw in pregame. As a former coach myself, I know that there are games sometimes where you're looking at some of your players, could be a wide receiver, could be a running back, could be a quarterback, and you're like, oh, he doesn't have the deep out. He doesn't have the big arm today. He's just not feeling it. Or my running back just doesn't have that same burst, whatever. Like, so maybe, listen, do you or I or anyone else of these friggin' morons, the chattering class, did they know whether or not he hit 5 straight from 65 in pregame? I mean, it's Seattle, so you're like, wow, it's Seattle. It wasn't a bad weather. It's early in the season. It's good weather. And I don't know that the kid didn't kick 4 out of 5 from 65 yards in pregame.
It looked like he had the leg. It just tailed away on him a little bit last minute. So
yeah,
I mean,
now your guy Dan Patrick said even if he made it, it was still the wrong call. And I just don't think if he makes it and they win the game,
no, it can't be.
Anybody's really talking about it. You're not talking about it as much.
No, you're almost praising the guy for knowing his team. Like he knew exactly what he wanted to do.
Well, that's what's funny, right? You're 100% right. If he did it, you'd be like, well, he knew his kicker had the leg that day. So I don't have it. I wouldn't have done it. I would have gone for it. You got Russell Wilson now.
Yeah.
If you got oh my God, who's quarterback last year?
Drew Lock.
If you got Drew Lock, I'm probably kicking it.
Teddy Bridgewater.
Well, either one. I'm probably kicking it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I probably wouldn't have done that. But I don't kill him for that. But yeah, I didn't like the flip-flop. I don't like wishy-washy, man. I want my coaches to be, again, I'm going to use this word because it's important. I want my coaches to be alpha. They're not going to take shit from anybody, not the media, not their players. Like, you're in friggin' charge. They don't dictate to you. You dictate what's going on. You either are the man and you continue or you get fired, but you're the man. And so that bothers me.
Just 2 more things football-wise. We'll move on to this week.
I want to stick with something on this game, though.
All right, go ahead. Yeah.
Go ahead.
You go.
I was just going to say that one of the big stories that, especially on what that Dan Patrick talked about this week, that really kind of bothered him, was that Russell Wilson got booed in Seattle. And he felt, and I know a lot of people felt, listen, this guy was part of bringing you a championship. He deserved at least the respect in the pregame of cheering for him. Now, this is, again, one of those situations where I'll say there's a difference between what I would do and what I'm okay with. Okay. I wouldn't have booed him because I don't hold that kind of animosity towards players, especially because he didn't badmouth Seattle.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now I understand. God.
And then you find out that they were shopping him for 2 years, 3 years.
So I thought about that because Dan Patrick brought that up. So here's the thing: Seattle was shopping him, or at least inquiring at the very least. But see, that was private. You didn't know about that at the time. Nobody really knew about, and we don't even. I don't know. Maybe maybe we know it now, but it was under the radar. If you remember last year, and this ticked a lot of people off in the Seattle locker room and a lot of fans off, that Russell Wilson's agent, remember this? He came out with a list of acceptable teams that he would be okay being traded to.
Yeah.
See, that's outwardly and publicly saying, get me out of here. And that's a problem. There's a big difference between saying, I want to be traded quietly and it happens, and here's a list that gets sent to, Sports Illustrated of teams that are acceptable for me to go to.
Yeah,
there's a difference between.
You can look at it that two ways too, like who leaked it. Did Seattle leak that so they're not the bad guys? So
no, it was Russell Wilson's. It was Russell Wilson's agent.
Yeah, but
put it out there. No, that was direct. No, that was direct from his agent. Yeah. That was direct from his agent. I think. Yeah, that was direct from his agent. Yeah, that wasn't.
But you know what I'm saying? If they go, listen, we're looking to trade him. Give me a team.
No, that's not what went on at all.
Yeah, but that
because there were the whispers. That's what it was. There were the whispers of maybe they wanted to see about Josh Allen. They wanted to see, and then they made this public. Because if you remember, Russell Wilson came out like maybe 2 weeks after that and was like, "Hey, I want to be here. I don't want to go anywhere." Blah blah blah. He knew that it was a bad look. He knew that was a bad look. So it was his camp that let that out, and that's the difference. Seattle did it privately, and he did it publicly, and it turned a lot of people off. So that's the difference there. Me personally, I wouldn't boo him. I don't think the fans owe him anything. I don't look at it that way. But for me, I would look at it and say, he was part of a championship team. I'm not going to boo him in pregame. I may boo him during the game. I don't really boo. I'm not a booer, but that's different anyway.
Part of it is like, you might just be more salty that you ended up with Geno Smith and you're not Russell Wilson anymore.
For sure. Of course. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. There's no doubt about it.
So 2 points on this game. We are weak at linebacker.
You got some problems there.
Exposed all first half. They made adjustments second half. I give the guys credit there. Javonte Williams is fantastic. Could we stop doing this alternating series shit? He's the guy when he wants to blow, put Melvin Gordon in.
Yeah,
it's not even close, dude. Come on. I mean, we've been saying this for 2 years. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right, week 2.
I just want to also say, like, we're gonna talk about some overreactions in a little while. It's easy to overreact. Russell Wilson, he threw for over 300 yards in this game, right?
I thought he played fine. I don't think there was.
Yeah, I think Denver fans should relax on this one. There are other teams that should be a little concerned. I think it just was a kind of a bad luck game.
Well, the NFL kind of fucked them too. I mean, Peyton Manning went back to Indianapolis like week 7. Tampa Bay last year went to New England week 4. Did first game out of the gate Monday night. Like,
yeah,
Jesus Christ.
Dude, Seattle's a bad football team. They should have beat him. But the fact is, you made the point. You made the point. You fumbled twice inside the 5-yard line.
Yeah,
that's you win by you convert those two. Even if you convert one of the two, you win by basically double digits. So that game. It was deceiving.
It was wacky.
Go ahead. What do we got
tonight? Chargers at Chiefs.
God. Incredible. What are your thoughts here? First impression, right off the bat. What are you thinking?
You're never as good as you were week 1, never as bad as you were week 1. I think the Chiefs don't look as great. I think the Chargers down a couple guys. I don't like that on the road. They're down.
Keenan Allen is out.
They're down a defenseman too.
Yep.
I don't love that. Arrowhead's going to be fucking. They're probably in the parking lot right now, pounding away.
Oh, they're shit-faced.
So I like the Chiefs, but I don't think it's going to be a major. I don't think it's going to be a blowout.
What are they fair by 4?
Yeah, I think 4.
Yeah, I tell you what, man, this is a tough one because Keenan Allen being out is a problem.
Yes, sir.
He is one of the best receivers in the NFL that people don't talk about a lot.
Definitely, agree.
Compared to some of the other names that people do talk about a lot. He's a really, really good receiver. With him being out, that's a problem. And the game being in Kansas City, it feels to me like the line feels low. I don't know.
It does feel a little low.
4 feels low. So, and that scares me. It makes me think like San Diego. I think they'll always be San Diego to me. The Chargers is like the play, but.
And this is the first of many AFC West primetime matchups of the year. So.
It's the best. It's the best division in football, so it doesn't surprise me at all.
Tampa Bay at New Orleans. Tom Brady has struggled against the Saints since being a Buccaneer. I might have something to say about this game a little later.
Have they lost 4 straight? Regular season?
I
Yeah,
think
regular
6 straight.
season. 6 straight. You're right, 6 straight.
Yeah.
Listen, Tampa looked
No, it can't be 6 straight because he's only been there 3 years, so it's 4 straight.
4 straight. Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
Tampa's defense looked really good the other night, obviously. But there are some concerns. The offensive line is not really good. Tom Brady even came out in his little podcast with Jim Gray saying, I was hurting a little bit. Like, whoa, I got hit a lot in this game. And the one receiver is still out.
Godwin got hurt again.
Godwin got banged
up. Different injury. So hopefully that won't be too long. But
it's this is where it's like so hard. You're going to take Jameis Winston over Tom Brady, but hard, tough one. I don't know that Tampa's Tampa yet. But I asked you,
but that's a gutsy one on the road Monday night. Brady was away
for absolutely.
You take it and run, man. That's you just take it and run.
No doubt about
Their
it.
Their defense looks pretty good, though.
Very good. And they let Jordan Whitehead go to the Jets, and it doesn't seem like it made a lick of difference. So,
sneaky good one here. Dolphins at Ravens.
Very interesting game because I think the last time they played, the Dolphins smashed them up pretty good. They played a lot of cover 0 against Lamar, and Lamar didn't really know how to react to that, which is kind of what we talk about a lot with him, is that first read isn't open. He doesn't know where to go. And when you're playing cover 0, that means you're going to get a lot of pressure because there's no safeties over the top or just one-on-one. You got very limited time. Pre-snaps are important. Mismatches are important. He just wasn't making those reads. Different defensive coordinator. We'll see how that goes. But Miami looked good last week. Tua looked efficient.
I thought very good. Very good.
Very good is for him or very good in general?
Very good for him.
Okay, I'll say very good for him. I mean, he threw for like 258 yards. It wasn't like
but they were never in doubt in that game ever. That game was like
what did they score? 20 points?
Yeah, they gave up 7.
Well, I'm saying where that Tua doesn't play defense. I'm saying
no. I'm saying, well, why would you push it down the field when you just play defense and get the ball back and run out the clock? That's how I look
these games get close in the NFL. That's what I was talking about before. Keep your foot on the gas.
Mac Jones gets hurt and they brought in whoever the fuck, and then like it's
he ended up leaving the game.
I don't know if he did or he didn't, but I know he
Mac
was
Jones.
He looked.
He got banged up. I'm fascinated by this game. I'm fascinated by Miami because I do think we've talked about they're much improved and they're very talented. I just, it's like a Denver situation from last year. Are they a quarterback short? You get a good read because Baltimore plays some pretty good defense. So we'll see. They get after it a little bit.
The battle of the 0-1s here. You can really get behind the 8 ball here. Bengals at Cowboys. No Dak Prescott for the Cowboys. Cooper Rush did win a big game last year in the absence of him, but now he's going to play.
That was against the Vikings, right?
It was.
That was a game we talked about a couple times. Because I said that's a perfect game for the Cowboys to lay down, and they didn't.
Cowboys defense could possibly keep them in this game if they pound the Bengals O-line like they did last week. But I don't know if they're going to have enough offense to win the game.
I suspect that Cincinnati's going to make some adjustments to take some heat off of Joe Burrow because what went down last week was unacceptable. Now,
agreed.
Dallas has a decent defense. Dallas doesn't have Pittsburgh's defense, so I don't expect it to be like that. I'd be shocked. I don't think I have this as one of my picks, so I don't. I'd be shocked if Cincinnati doesn't win this game by double digits. I really would. I think I should go back and make it one of my picks, but I'm not going to do that. I got 2 already, so I'd be shocked. I expect Joe Burrow to play a lot better, to be a little more efficient and protect the ball a little more. Their defense Cincinnati's defense didn't play bad last week. It's just, their offense put them in shit positions a lot. So it makes it tough. So, and like you said, Cowboys, it's tough. You lose Dak right off the bat. You know what it is, dude? It's not just the player. It's demoralizing. Like you didn't even get through week 1 and you already lost your, top 10, top 12 quarterback in the league. It's tough. It's tough. And, right away, the rumors start like, well, are they going to trade for Jimmy G? Are they going to trade for Mason Rudolph?
Or are they going to call Big Ben? Get the fuck out of here.
Is that what somebody said?
Yeah, I saw that today.
Oh, for God's sake. Get the fuck out of here. My God. Like he would do that. Maybe he would. He's an idiot too. So.
In a shocking record-wise game here, the 1-0 Chicago Bears go to the 0-1 Green Bay Packers.
Incredible,
that might
right?
Happened for the last time this year.
Yeah.
I think the Packers defense bounces back. I think they give Fields a horror show. of
Yeah.
I think that's a Sunday night game, right?
I'm not sure. I rely on you for that information.
Yeah, I think it's Sunday night, and I think Green Bay's off. I think Rodgers, like last year, I think they start making adjustments slowly with the young receivers. Listen, rely on your run game a little bit more, man. You got two horses.
Yeah, I have no faith in Justin Fields, and not just Justin Fields, but he's got no weapons, nothing to speak of. Green Bay's defense is good. They didn't look so great last week, but that's a good defense. I expect them to bounce back. They're at home. Aaron Rodgers already got a chip on his shoulder. I don't know what the line was in that game. I feel that was like a 10-point.
Yeah.
Were they favored by 10?
Yeah.
That's just a lot in the NFL, but I expect Green Bay to hold serve here and get back to 500.
Doubleheader Monday night.
Isn't it interesting? The NFL is so smart, though, dude.
Yeah.
They usually do the doubleheader on the first weekend, but they put that Russ Wilson versus Seahawks game, solo. Only eyes. Dude, it's brilliant.
Yeah, the Raiders are nuts too.
Yeah, brilliant.
First game, Titans at Bills, another 10-point spread. Titans don't look great, but dude, they're a good football team. Good, well coached.
I was say you got a really good coach that's really good at making adjustments. As you said before, you're never as good as your last week, and you're never as bad as last week. This is like a class. Where's that game?
Buffalo.
Yeah, this is like a classic spot.
Yeah,
Buffalo,
absolutely.
If you're a gambler, you know that Buffalo stung you in the ass with this exact spot multiple times last year. One week they look like Super Bowl champs guaranteed, and then the next week they lose to, whoever, bad team. And it's just like, what the hell is going on? I think I want to change
one of my picks now too.
You want to, right? It's just like, what the hell? So, but I tell you what, the reality is the team that you saw, Buffalo, of all the teams I watched, Buffalo is without question one of the most complete teams. You're going to have a hard time finding any holes in that team. Their offensive line is not the best in the league, but because Josh Allen runs so well, he makes up for that. It does scare me that once again, he was a leading rusher for their team last week. I don't know how long that can go on. I don't like that. Okay. I don't like that, but at the same time, he's freaking unstoppable when he does it. So there's that part of it.
To cap week 2, great game here. Vikings at Eagles.
We're going to see. I think the Vikings are for real. We're going to see if Philly is. I don't want to like jerk off all over the Eagles just because they beat Detroit. Like, I like Detroit. I think they're improved, but I'm not ready to like coordinate the Eagles yet. Now, if they were to win this game, you got to look at them and say, is this the best team in the East? Like, you just have to, because then you get 2 wins like that.
Yep.
That'd be good. So, and it's a test. It's a good test for the Vikings. Was it just a fluke? Are you just the same team that we've seen from the last couple of years? Win a big game next week, shit the bed? Or can you put a couple games together against the, second one against a tough team? Be a good game to watch. You don't want to talk about the Jets' upcoming game against the Browns? No, it's not a good game. No. You're probably right.
Sorry, Coach. You want to touch on a segment here? Overreactions.
Yeah, so it's especially the first week after the first week of the season, and we brought up a couple of them. There are always overreactions, right? So like, Green Bay is gonna suck. Okay, and I pointed out that last year, I think last year New Orleans put a 40 spot on them in the first game of the season, like literally crapped on them, and obviously Green Bay turned out just fine until the playoffs last year. So I just wanted to know, what were some what were like, you look at and you say, well, this is an overreaction, but maybe it's not quite an overreaction. So I'll give you the first one that I have here, and I'll stick with Green Bay. I think so. Green Bay is in trouble. Like, that's the overreaction. You watch them get trounced. And let me just say, they got manhandled. Both sides of the ball, they got manhandled by the Vikings. So Green Bay's in trouble is the natural overreaction. I'm not quite so sure that this is an overreaction. And a lot of it has to do with the idea that clearly Aaron Rodgers is not thrilled with the receivers that he's throwing to. They have multiple injuries. Bakhtiari, I think, is banged up again. Like, I don't think he played. Like, he's one of the best tackles in the game, but he's never on the field. So I don't know how great you are if you can't play. They got real injuries, real issues on the offensive side of the ball. And Aaron Rodgers is already like pouting and all that kind of shit. I think I think there could be some trouble in Green Bay for a while. And you can see, you just mentioned that game with the Vikings and the Eagles. If the Vikings win that game and are 2-0, I could see people start to press in Green Bay and start to really get concerned. But I think there should be some genuine concern in Green Bay.
I have the same exact thing written down, but I'm more of a specific group. I think the receivers here.
Yeah, it's a problem.
Last year, you knew you had Adams. Your tight end got hurt week 1. You adjusted a little bit more. I don't know, man. This guy Watson drops a wide open.
Oh my God, that was brutal.
Oh, I thought he was going to.
It set the tone for the whole game.
It did.
It set the tone for the whole game for them. Yeah, momentum just shifted, and that was the end of it. No, you're 100% right. And what's worse is that what it does to Aaron Rodgers, and this is the difference between him and like a Russell Wilson, a Patrick Mahomes, and Tom Brady. Like Aaron Rodgers starts to pout, and he pouts the rest of the game, and he's like a little bitch the rest of the game, and he gave you nothing. He gave you nothing. In fact, he made a turn. He threw an interception that he never does.
Never does. I know.
Just a chuck and duck. He never does that.
It's almost like he makes a point by doing this shit for some
reason.
Yeah, no,
like, this is his passive aggressive way. He doesn't say it exactly, but he just shows it. And the difference is like he doesn't have a Devontae Adams coming back like from injury or something like that. I think there are some real issues that are, maybe they sign an OBJ at some point, or I don't know, but I think it's a situation that could be a lingering problem. So was that Green Bay one of yours?
Yeah.
Okay, so my second one then is the Eagles are clearly the best team in the East. It's easy to make that overreaction. You get off, you score 38 points on the road. I don't care who you play in the NFL. If you score 38 points on the road, that's real. Like, I don't care if you play Jacksonville, Houston, it doesn't matter to me. You score 38 points on the road, that's impressive, right? But I don't want to just I'll take it as impressive and it's a great thing to do, but does this automatically make you the best team in the East or in any division? I don't know. I saw some good things out of the Giants. Belief and faith are really hard things to just like say they don't matter. They matter. And I think the Giants have some belief. Washington, we didn't even mention that the Commanders won their game. I'm not ready to coronate the Eagles as the best team in the East, but I don't know that it's a total overreaction. I look at that team. I look at Washington. I look at the Giants. I look at Cowboys, and I say they might be. They might be. They might be the class of the East.
I got Dakota Prescott injuries are starting to become a problem. They are.
Yeah. So that's
leg.
It's an overreaction,
hand.
but it's not. Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
Leg, hand, shoulder.
Right.
They're not good without him.
Best ability is availability. With him. Yep.
It's
2 out of the last 3 years we've had significant injuries.
And you mentioned the money before. That's it's an issue.
And that's why availability is such a great ability, is because that money stays on the books. It's not like he gets hurt and then you get $40 million to play with to go sign somebody else. Like you have to, that still stays on your cap space. So it's a problem. Yeah, it's a problem. And all we hear about is, well, Jimmy G gets hurt all the time. This guy gets hurt all the time. Dak is major injuries 2 out of 3 years. 2 out of 3 years, major injuries. And your season pretty much goes in the tank because of it. My last one that I have here is that the Colts are no different with Matt Ryan at quarterback. It's an easy overreaction, right? They fall behind 20-3. They do make a little comeback at the end there to tie the game, but it was the Houston Texans. So it's a little overreaction to say that they're just the same team. But I don't know that it's a total overreaction because of some of the things that you said. Pittman's a nice receiver, but I'm not even sure he's an A. Like he might be a BB plus receiver, and he's their best. There's a reason they only had 3 points through 3 quarters and change, because there's not a lot of explosive players. Hell, you can say that Matt Ryan had significantly better weapons with Atlanta than he does here with the Colts. Now, I like Matt Ryan. I think he's certainly an upgrade. And if nothing else, he didn't make more mistakes to make that game worse, so they were able to make their comeback.
True.
Okay, and that matters, okay? Not giving the game away matters. And I can see Wentz pressing and giving you no chance to win that game. But after 1 week, I don't know how much better they are than they were last year. I could see them being one game short of being in the playoffs. You know what I mean? So it wouldn't surprise me. So I don't know. I think it might be a slight overreaction. It's a natural overreaction. I don't know how off it is, though.
They kind of escaped too, because them and the Texans have ties, and the Titans and Jaguars have losses. So it didn't really kill them yet. So
yeah.
The Rams' offensive line. Oh, we will be fine. We'll replace those guys. We'll be fine. I thought they were going to call Whitworth at halftime to go put a fucking uniform on.
Oh my God. I wonder if he's like seriously considering playing.
That's a problem, dude.
That phone call went out on Monday. It might even have gone out Sunday night.
It might have went out Friday morning. They played Thursday.
Oh, that's right. You're right. That's right. That's right. I forgot. That call went out.
Dude.
It's a problem.
Between a bad running game already, Stafford's elbow, and a bad line. I know, again, overreaction Monday, but my God.
Yeah.
And listen, they gotta play the Niners defense twice in that division.
Yeah. Speaking of the Niners, the one thing I wanted to point out, they play Seattle this week.
Yeah.
Now they're 9-point favorites, right? But if they lose to Seattle,
I can't take them giving 9 points. No fucking way.
No, right? But
no
would you
way.
be? But with Trey Lance at quarterback, would be shocked if they lose to Seattle. If they lose to Seattle and they're 0-2, are you really telling me they're not going to Jimmy G?
Exactly. We've done that before.
Remember what we talked about when we said it's unlike other sports where you might have a game the next day or 2 days later you have another game. NBA, hockey, baseball.
Yeah.
Right? You're as good as your next day's pitcher. 6 days. 6 days of ESPN. 6 days of Max Kellerman. 6 days of Stephen A. 6 days of Colin Cowherd.
Of
6
Greenberg.
days of Shannon Sharp. 6 days of Mike
DP.
Greenberg. Like, it's nonstop, and that pressure mounts. And I don't think they're going to lose that game. But if they did, good God. That'll be to me, if San Fran loses, that'll be the most intriguing story of the week next week.
I might do the podcast with my pants off next week if that's the case.
We'll keep the camera nice and high. That's the only ones I got for today.
You want to go to college football, sir?
Yeah, let's do college football. Let's hit it real quick because we are spending a ton of time.
Yeah,
here.
we are creeping along here.
Let's review last week. There was some craziness.
Noon on Fox, kickoff to Saturday. Alabama holds off the Longhorns by 1 point.
Great game, by the way. Maybe the most impressive thing to me was Texas defense. I don't know how much of it is Texas defense or was it Alabama does not. You want to talk about like overreactions that might not be an overreaction. Alabama's weapons on the outside, man, you go back for a while now, man. You can say what you want about Alabama quarterbacks. You can't say shit about wide receivers. They've always had some great, just look around the NFL at how many Alabama wide receivers there are in the league. They weren't separating and getting open like they usually do. So
agreed.
I don't know if it was the wide receivers or Texas defense, combination of both, but it was a great game.
You think
was hoping Texas.
You think Bama took them lightly?
I've never seen that from a Saban team. You'd be hard pressed to show me a game. You go back and you show me a game where Saban. Okay, who was the quarterback?
For who? For them?
For them. He's an analyst on ESPN.
Greg McElroy.
McElroy said that Saban is 10 times harder on them when they played, Louisiana Lafayette than he is against Auburn. He says he doesn't have to get us up for LSU. He don't have to say a goddamn thing.
Point.
So I don't think there's any way. It certainly didn't look like they were flat. I just looked like it looked to me like they were playing a team that could match them athletically. Texas was hitting. Like, it was a physical game. I don't know what to take from it, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, is Texas that much improved, or is Alabama lacking weapons? That's the only thing I'm not sure about.
Yeah, stay tuned to find out.
Yep.
The Appalachian State Mountaineers do it again, and this time I could celebrate it. They go into College Station and beat the Aggies. Man, A&M's got some problems too, boy.
This would be a historic win if we didn't already know the Appalachian State name.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that is a number. what was that? What was Texas A&M? The number
6.
2, number 3, number 6 team in the
6.
country,
Yeah.
losing at home to Appalachian State. Like, you got to be shitting me, dude.
Jimbo, number 1 recruiting class.
Oh,
Jimbo's
my
going
God.
at Saban. Jimbo, shut.
Yep. He put just like that, one of my top 4 teams this year, unless they go undefeated the rest of the way.
I don't see that happening.
One of my Final Four teams is already done. So thanks a lot, Jimbo.
Notre Dame stinks. Marshall goes in and beats them up pretty good. And
By
the
the way,
quarterback goes down with it.
Yeah, handled them. Yeah, it's a problem when your head coach looks better. Like, I mean, actually physically looks better than your team plays. Like, what's his name?
Marcus Freeman.
Freeman, dude, good looking guy.
Reese is the OC.
What's that?
Reese is
the
the
OC.
OC.
Right. Freeman is a good looking dude. He's jacked. He looks fantastic on the sidelines, and that's about where the fantastic ends for Notre Dame because they stink, dude. This is not a good football team.
They're not a good
Marshall? You're losing to Marshall? Who did they play the week before that I was like, oh, at least they played some
Ohio
good
State.
defense. That's right. You play good defense. You can't stop Marshall?
Their offense stinks.
Ay. And you can't score against anybody. And that's a bigger problem, I think, because that looks like it's a lingering problem. Yeah. Obviously, you couldn't score. It couldn't put up enough points against Marshall, dude. Marshall's a pretty good football team, but they're not in the class of Notre Dame.
Late night kick in Provo. BYU beats Baylor in overtime. 2 ranked teams.
It's a big win for that program because if you look even back to the Zach Wilson days, the one complaint or the one criticism you could say is that they didn't beat anybody. Well, they just put a good licking on a really good football team. And maybe what was the score of that game? Do you have a score of that game?
26-20, I think, in overtime.
Baylor is an explosive team. Maybe the most impressive thing about BYU is that they played tremendous defense and held Baylor to 20 points. I thought it was a relatively
the scenery out there is tremendous.
Oh, dude. It's phenomenal. And that's unique to college football. You don't get that in the NFL.
No.
You don't get that anywhere. Like, that's unique because the stadiums are too big.
Arrowhead's one of the greatest stadiums in the NFL, but it's in the middle of nowhere next to the Kansas City Royal Stadium off a highway.
Yeah,
it's like
New York, the Giants play in a swamp. Like, there's no great Utah, BYU. Oh, my God. Even like
Colorado, Boulder,
UCLA.
I've been to Boulder.
Come on, dude. It's bananas.
And speaking of the swamp, let's go to one of your losers. Kentucky goes into Gainesville and beats them straight up.
Well, not only did I lose the bet, but my Heisman Trophy winner looked like shit. Everything went south in that game for me. And you know what? The problem is I don't listen to myself. I told you before the season started when we were even talking about college football, I'm like, don't sleep on Kentucky. This is a team. This is an improving program. They got a legitimate quarterback there, Levis, right? Is that his name?
Yep.
Will Levis. By the way, he's built like a brick shit house. Jesus Christ. He looks like Tim Tebow, but can actually throw a football. So dangerous team. I don't think they're going to win their division, but that's a great win for Kentucky. That's a great win for that program. You talk about a recruiting tool.
They've beaten Florida 3 of the last 5 years, man.
Can you imagine that in football?
I think that's your next Nebraska coach. That's the first guy I call on Nebraska.
We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Okay. 2 more for you. We'll move on. The Volunteers go into Pittsburgh. A great game. Another great one in overtime. Yeah. Pitt goes ahead early. Tennessee comes all the way back. I think they scored 24 unanswered. Really good game.
Yeah. You texted me just as I was thinking the quarterback for Tennessee looks really good.
Hooker, yep.
Oh, my God. He throws a really nice ball. He's got
Don't jinx another fucking kid for the Heisman.
All right. I'm just saying. Sorry, I mean, when we talk about these things, you got to let me talk about it. He looks good and great athlete. Cannon for an arm. Pretty damn accurate. I like what I saw out of him, and it's a great win for Tennessee in their program. I'll say this, though. Pittsburgh's way better than I thought they would be.
Yep.
I mean, this is a much better team. I know they got the kid Slovis out of USC at quarterback.
He's got a program going now. It's not just like a 1-year wonder. They got an establishment going on.
I think that's where I was going with that. So thank you.
Sorry.
No. Thank you for making it a little more concise. Like, that's a team. You're right. That's a program. I thought they would take a major dip. That's a good football team.
Pat Narduzzi's the coach. Yeah.
Yes, that's a good football team. So even though they lost, I look at them and I say they're not disappearing. I thought I think I took them as one of my unders. Like, I think the over and under for them was like 8 or 9 wins. And I said, give me the under. There's no way. That's a pretty good football team.
And I tell you, they play in a bad ACC. It's a great football town. They got a lot of legendary players in the NFL out of Pitt. I like when Pitt's good.
Yeah.
And going back to the old uniforms is nice. I like bright yellow.
You need some of those middle America teams to be successful. It can't just be all the coast, and Ohio State. Like, you need that. So, yeah.
Whoa.
Fun game to watch.
Big Ten West team, not great, bro. Wisconsin goes down to Wazoo.
Yeah, it's a horrible loss.
Oh.
I mean, it's a horrible loss. What was the score of that game? Do you have it?
17-14, I think. It was ugly.
Yeah, it was not good. It's a bad loss. You had mentioned, I think you texted me at one point, like the quarterback for Wisconsin. He stinks. And you know what the sick thing is? It's like that seems to be always the case. Like they really can't recruit. Wisconsin is a perennial top 25 program. I mean, perennial. I would say even top 20.
Dude, this kid they have a quarterback was the highest rated player they've ever gotten at quarterback.
What's his name?
The guy still sucks. Mertz. Graham Mertz.
He stinks.
He stinks.
So I don't know. It seems to me. And funny thing is, we mentioned Russell Wilson before. That was the one year that they were very explosive on offense when they brought in Russell Wilson from NC State. So
and they can't even pull the kid because they got no one else behind them.
Because the backup got hurt, right?
Yeah,
backup got hurt near the end of the preseason. So yeah, that's a problem.
They're in trouble, dude.
Yeah, it is trouble.
Like this looks like the 8th or 9th year in a row the Big Ten the winner's going to come out of the East again because the West just
And I don't know if you were going to bring it up, but I know Ohio State won. But I didn't think they looked all that impressive. They weren't.
They were down a couple. Jackson Smith and Jigma didn't play. I think another guy in defense didn't play. But I mean, I don't know.
But I look at it almost the same as I'm looking at Ohio State, and Alabama, and I say, where's the rest of the guys? This is like wide receiver university. Like they always have tons of wide receivers.
Well, Marvin Harrison Jr. had 180 yards and 3 touchdowns. So
you know what it is, dude? I guess I'm just not used to seeing Ohio State like score in the low 30s, especially against subpar teams.
Well, and I texted you this Saturday afternoon after Notre Dame went down. So much for that. We got to hold the phone on Ohio State's defense because Notre Dame couldn't score against Elmwood Park right now. So
right, exactly.
Let's calm down on that.
Absolutely.
And
this is what we get.
And they gave up more points to Arkansas State than Notre Dame. So let's calm down.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. This is what you get when you only get 1 week.
Yeah.
You got 1 week of information. It's, you don't want to overreact, which is why we call it Overreaction Monday. But
Yep.
I just don't know. I picked Ohio State to win the national championship, and I'm looking at that team, and I'm like, at least right now, that does not look like a national championship.
Well, right now, it looks like Georgia and going away, but there's
Georgia
a lot of football
fantastic.
to be played. There's a lot of football to be played.
You talk about overreaction. I know USC is 2-0, and Colin Cowherd is spooging all over the place.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
Dude, they played Rice and
what happened? Dude, I know we said this in the preseason.
Who did USC?
What happened? Fucking Stanford.
Like,
slow down. What happened to David Shaw's Bright Star? That thing went out years ago, huh?
It's been a little while since they've been competitive.
Yeah.
So, I'm not impressed with USC just yet.
I got 6 for you preview this week. A little light week on the schedule. That's good. A little weather's nice. Go out, cook some burgers, relax, maybe catch some games. Speaking of the Georgia Bulldogs, they go to Columbia and play South Carolina. With your boy
I'm high. I'm high on South Carolina, but I'm not that high. And I was down on Georgia, and now I'm not. That's you talk about a guy who's built the program. I have no freaking clue how you get 9 guys off of your defense drafted in the NFL draft, and somehow you still have, I don't know, top 10 defense in the freaking country.
Dude.
How the hell do you do that? You graduate 3, 4, 5, or you sent 3, 4, 5 to the NFL. Okay.
Yeah.
9? Come on. I don't know. I'm blown away by Georgia.
Scotty Frost. Gone. Oklahoma comes into Lincoln. 12 o'clock kick.
What's crazy about this game is it's a 10-point spread. I mean, I want to put rent money on Oklahoma.
Are they reeling us in, dude? Oh, my God.
I think so because, the one thing you usually get when you fire a head coach, especially if the team, the players are kind of on board with the firing. I don't know that that's the case here because I don't know enough about Nebraska football, whether or not the players were growing tired of Scott Frost. But when the players have, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of lost faith, we'll say, in their head coach, and he gets fired. That next week, even if it's a bad team, you see this in the NBA all the time. You see this in college basketball. You see that next week, they usually play pretty hard because it's almost like they feel like they were freed from that last coach. They're bad. Who'd they lose to last week?
Georgia Southern.
I mean, like, I don't know how you lose to Georgia Southern and then come back and compete with Oklahoma. I don't know.
I don't
know. So 10 points seems delicious to me, but I didn't touch that one. It's not one of my picks, so I guess I'm a dummy too.
Might be one of mine. No.
Who else you got there?
BYU at Oregon.
God, I want to jump on the BYU train, but I'm worried. I'm so concerned about a letdown.
I know.
After beating Baylor, and Oregon certainly didn't look good.
A couple weeks ago.
They look so bad. But were they so bad, or is Georgia so good? Right? I don't know. So I didn't touch that one either. But BYU was impressive defensively more than anything. They were impressive. So should be a fun game to watch. Bo Nix still stinks.
I hope BYU gets some of those receivers back. It'll make it a better game.
For sure.
Penn State goes into SEC country. It doesn't happen often for the Big Ten.
There's so many teams that I just don't have faith in.
Like
I think Auburn is not good this year. I don't think they're very good this year. But do you have faith in Penn State to go down to Auburn and win that game?
I don't know. When Auburn went to Penn State last year, night game, Penn State, we talked about it a couple weeks ago at the whiteout. It's nuts there.
And that was one of the most physical games.
But Penn State, they're still behind. They're still behind Franklin and Clifford and all the Auburn. You hear all these stories about their coach and their AD quit, and there's a lot of shit going on down there.
It's a lot of problems.
I just think
that's a big ask for Penn State to go down there.
I know.
And win that game. I'll tell you, I'll put it to you this way. I don't have a pick on that game. If Penn State, I don't care. I think they're favored. I think Penn State's favored by 6.
They are. By 3.
By 3. You go down. I don't care that they're favored. You go down there and win that game. I'm impressed. I don't care that you're favored. I don't care. It's Auburn. Even if they're not, it's not a great year. It's a great program. It's a historic program. You go down there and win that game. I'm impressed. So we'll see. I really genuinely don't have a good feeling on what's going to happen either way. I just think it's a tough spot.
Another weird number game and another Big Ten team going out west. Michigan State goes to Washington. And
they're dogs, aren't they?
They're dogs in that game. Yes.
I looked at that one. I really wanted to jump on Michigan. I wanted to jump on Michigan State, but I didn't do it. There's something there. There's something going on. I didn't do it. And I don't know.
Ex-Indiana quarterback Michael Penix Jr. for the Huskies.
Is he playing quarterback there?
Yeah.
I don't have enough information yet to have a really strong opinion on that. And Washington is almost like it's like a separate country, so I have no idea what the hell's going on over there. So
you got to take 2 planes and a boat to get over
there. I just don't know what to think of it, man. But I was stunned when I saw the line. I'm like, wow, they're really dogs. Yeah.
Last one for me. Miami Hurricanes go into the wounded Texas A&M Aggies.
I do have an opinion on this game that I will be bringing up very shortly. So
then let's save that for that, and we'll hit Scotty Frost real quick.
Yeah. Scott Frost. You just mentioned that they lost to Georgia Southern, which is bad. I am just blown away. Before they hired Scott Frost, I thought, well, there's no way that this program can get any lower. And then they lost to Georgia Southern. It's hard for me in my lifetime, and I mean, even like as a teenager, Nebraska was one of the elite programs in the country. And it all went downhill when they joined the Big Ten. Now, I don't think they would say it was a mistake because there's more money. This is why Oklahoma and Texas are leaving the Big 12 to go to the SEC, because there's more money to be made elsewhere. So Nebraska is getting more money. But as far as your football program goes, your football program is shit. It's on par now in the Big Ten with Northwestern, Minnesota, Indiana, Illinois. You're bottom third of the Big Ten. It's a fucking joke. and it's embarrassing, and it shouldn't be that way. And I got to be honest with you, we can talk about rumors on who, what names are out there to take that job. You just mentioned
Mike Stoops.
Mike Stoops from Kentucky. Fuck you. If I'm him, I'm like, no.
Right.
He has built a better program in Kentucky. What are you going to do? Oh, by the way, in a year or two, you have USC and UCLA coming to the Big Ten. Do you really want to take on a Nebraska program, which is literally in the shitter right now? And I say Minnesota. Minnesota's a better program than Nebraska right now.
Yep.
So, Purdue right now is a more competitive team than Nebraska. You're one of the worst two teams in the division, in the conference. It's so sad.
It's the first time they scored 35 points at home and lost in like 60 years or something like that.
And that's what's so crazy.
Or maybe ever. I don't know.
Defensively, they're just bad. It's a bad football team. I don't know. It's just bad. And it's kind of sad to see.
16 and 31 in 4+ years. That's like,
brutal.
Dude, that's what, 250? That's insane.
It's bad. So what guys are you hearing as rumors to potentially?
I heard, Stoops. I heard the guy from Kansas. Dude, imagine going from Kansas to fucking Nebraska.
And almost and thinking, hey, I don't want to take it because that job is worse. Could you imagine there's a worse job than Kansas?
I heard Dave Doran from NC State. I wouldn't leave that job for Nebraska. No thanks.
You're a top 20 team right now.
No, thank you.
Why would you go to Nebraska?
I heard the guy from Coastal Carolina.
Well, for him, that might be worth the risk. Yeah. Because what's the worst case scenario? You suck after 3 years and then you go back to
that's like Billy Napier going from Louisiana Lafayette to Florida. Yeah, like, I'm taking that job, dude. Like,
yeah, because obviously Urban Meyer's name comes up, and if I'm Urban Meyer, why would I want to go? You were at Ohio State. Why would I want to go to now coach a shit team in that conference and get just obliterated year in and year out by Ohio State? That makes no sense. That hire would make no sense to me unless he's desperate. Which why would he? I don't know why he'd be desperate. There's no way I would do that if I'm him. You know what I'm saying? So. That doesn't make sense. I think they're gonna have to.
I got one for you.
Let me hear it.
I want to see if you can guess this one. Current NFL coach, if he got fired.
Robert Saleh.
Oh, he's off it already. I love a week 2. He's off. I'm
kind of done with him. Current.
We NFL. Like him.
Give me East, Central, West.
NFC, East Coast.
Oh, Matt Rule.
Bingo, bango.
Matt Rule. Would Matt Rule? I think he would consider that. Because I don't think Matt Rule gets another NFL head coaching job off the Carolina job. I think he would get I think he could potentially get a coordinator's job. That's a pretty good name.
Right?
That's a pretty good name. Yep, I think he would interview. I don't think Mike Stoops even takes the interview. I gotta be honest with you. I don't think
you might be right, and that's fucking nuts, dude.
Isn't that crazy that the head coach of Kentucky football wouldn't even take the interview at Nebraska? I'll be honest with you. Greg Schiano at Rutgers. I don't even take the interview at Nebraska.
I think you're right.
I'm being honest. And that's Rutgers. I mean, give me a break. I don't even think Rutgers belongs in the conference, and I wouldn't take the Nebraska job.
This one's going to make you mad. I don't think he'll do it. Deion Sanders.
He would never do it. I don't see why he would.
He's waiting for the Florida State job. That's all he's doing.
He's waiting for Florida State or Dallas Cowboys. He's made it pretty clear what he would take. He thought he should have been the Dallas Cowboys coach.
I got one for you. I got another for you.
By the way, these are no-brainers for Nebraska. If Nebraska could hire any of these guys, they would do it in a second. I just don't think any of those guys would be interested.
Recently retired, or out of coaching, built a monster at Boise State. Chris Peterson.
Yeah, I don't think so.
For him or for Nebraska?
Oh, if I'm Nebraska, I would take him in a heartbeat. I don't think Chris Peterson takes that job. I think Chris Peterson rused the day he left Boise State.
Yeah, because where'd you go? Washington, right?
You know who he was at Boise State? He was Mark Few at Gonzaga.
Oh, definitely.
He was
exactly.
a king at Boise.
Yeah.
He had it made. And the most beautiful part about him being at Boise State was every year people talking about him and Boise State. They should be ranked higher than they are. They should be part of the playoffs. They should be blah, blah, blah. That Smurf turf, that kind of cloud that was always over them saying they should be ranked higher than they are. It was beautiful.
They'd always open up with a banger, like they play Oregon
but
or
yet
Virginia Tech.
But at the same time, the pressure wasn't there that you had in Washington. And Washington doesn't even have the pressure of like a Nebraska or that was a great job. And I think he probably looks back and says that was a mistake.
Yeah, you might.
That was a mistake.
One more for me. What's next for Scott Frost?
He's gonna have to take a step back to like a Central Florida-ish type job. Or
a coordinator job.
I don't think he's gonna have to do that. I think he built up enough street cred doing what he did at Central Florida to be able to get like, South Florida,
like East Carolina, something job, like
yeah, something like that. A second-tier team, a Boise State, something like that. He's not. I got to be honest with you. I wouldn't. Why would you hire him as a coordinator? I genuinely don't know the job he would do as a coordinator because the only jobs I know him as being were as head coaches. Like that's how he got recognized. So I don't even know him.
He was an Oregon OC before he went to Central Florida.
Was he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably not hiring him as an offensive coordinator. And if I'm him, I look around and I say, there's over 100 college football Division I teams. I think he can get a job as a head coach. I think he could. Where that would be, I'd be surprised, especially now that he'll have some distance between him and Nebraska from now to the end of the season. He'll be rested.
Yeah.
He'll be okay. I think there'll be a job opening for him. And I think he'll take it. I wouldn't be surprised if he does well. Dude, you can't take away what he did at Central Florida. That's what makes this so odd.
No, it's weird. It is weird.
It makes it so odd that he went home. It's Nebraska. You would think that he would have been able to turn that around rather quickly, and it just never happened. And you can make an argument that it got worse, which is beyond me. It really is beyond me.
Pat Forty said today on Big Ten Today that he was shocked that they brought him back this year, that he should have been fired at the end of last year. I could see both sides of it. I could see both sides of it, but
I think if it was any other coach,
I think he got not a Nebraska son. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's what did it, and which was almost worse because what did they play 3 games this year to get fired after 3 games? It kind of feels shitty. So you probably should just let him go. If you were thinking it. Listen, if you're firing him now, you were thinking it last year. And if you're thinking you should fire your coach, you should probably just go ahead and fire the guy.
And the fact you fired him now, if you waited till October 1st, you saved $7.5 million.
Yes, so bad that you couldn't wait 2 more weeks.
Dude, yeah.
It's such a bad situation that you're like, fuck the $7 million. Let's get rid of him now. Which is funny because it's not like you're getting your guy now. You know what I mean? You don't get your guy.
Whoever you're going to. You get your first. Now you open up the search. You got all your dibs. You got all your ducks in a row.
I think October 1st, you still could have done a pretty thorough search.
Yeah, but also Nebraska's on USC.
Well, it's just like, but I don't know that the fan base. Everybody has their limits, and I just don't know that the fan base would have stuck around for much longer.
Who are they going to bring in next? Eric Crouch, for Christ's sake.
It's rough.
Hey, you want to bet a little bit?
I love betting, but I tell you what I don't want to do is I don't want to talk about last week. So let's stick with the present.
So let's hit that first. Let's hit our record last week, as Pete doesn't want to talk about it.
Oh, Jesus.
Scotty, your boy here, was 2-2, 2-0 on Saturday, but
not great, but not bad.
Ugly 0-2 on Sunday, a little ugly.
Yeah.
I got a little late cover. I got backdoored in both games, but that happens.
I don't.
Pete got backdoored in more ways than one.
I took it in the back door. Yeah, I definitely took it in the back door.
Peter went 0-4 and is 2-5 overall. As I am 4-3 overall.
Oh, all right. Now that we got that out of the way, let's move on and I got a good feeling about this week's games. I feel fantastic. And now all I have to do is go 4-0, and I'm back to 500. That's all.
Good luck.
Piece of cake.
I hope you do, man.
College football.
You want to start? Or you want me to start?
I want you to start.
Well, you were
Nobody
saying
wants to hear from me
You
anyway.
said everything that I was going to say about 10 minutes ago.
Uh-oh.
A head coach gets fired.
Are you going to pull the trigger on this one?
There's a buzz around Lincoln right now.
Oh
What do
my
we got
God.
going
You
forward?
got brass balls, man.
Oklahoma coming into town. Old rivalry in the Big 12. Boomer Sooner. They're singing it all the way from here. You could hear it. The crowd's going to be ready to go. It's new blood.
This game is in Nebraska.
The number looks bizarre to me. I'm taking Nebraska plus 11 and a hook
I don't
at home
get it.
against Oklahoma.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to make you a bet on air right here. If Nebraska covers this one, we'll do this live next week. I'll do it because we videotape it. If you only listen on a podcast, we have this live on YouTube, and you can watch the replay on YouTube as well. I will do 50 push-ups live on camera next Thursday at 3:30.
Wow.
If Nebraska covers this 11-point spread.
Wow.
Because now what's funny is it's not like I took Oklahoma. I get so I don't have them as one of my bets. I can't believe it. Oklahoma is a significantly better team. There's no way this game should be close. So I get it, but I will pay the tax. I will pay the tax if Nebraska covers this spread.
I like it.
Last week, or at least the first game of the season, NC State, we were both surprised at how high they were ranked. But they won by, I think, 1 point first game of the season for them. They were favored by 17, and I think they won by 1. I got to believe that they're ranked for – you going to find that score for me? Is that what you're doing?
You want to find it?
Yeah, find I think they won by a single point, and I don't think it was against a good football team.
That was week 1, Coach?
Was last week? Was it last week? NC State was against not a good team. Who the hell did NC State play last week?
Yeah, they didn't play week 1. That's fucking weird.
This is taking forever.
That's
right. It was week 0, right? It was week 0. And they won like 17-16.
NC State won 55-3 last week, so it's not that week.
It was the week before then. Anyway.
21-20 at East Carolina.
East Carolina. It scared me a little bit. But then they came back 55-3 last week against Sister Mary of the Blind, which was an impressive victory for them.
Yeah.
Texas, they're playing Texas Tech, and Texas Tech's quarterback is hurt. Now, Texas Tech played really good. I think they might even have beaten Houston. I think the game went into overtime. They either lost in overtime, won in overtime. They played tough. But I think NC State is a better football team. Give me NC State minus 10. There's a reason they've been ranked this early in the season, which is very rare for NC State. You don't usually find them in the top 20, and here they are, 2-0. I think they make it 3-0 pretty handily against Texas Tech. NC State minus 10.
Notre Dame stinks.
They stink.
Quarterback's out for the year.
Gone.
It's a rough week in South Carolina.
I don't know that it matters, but he's gone.
The Echoes are calling. The Echoes are singing. The Echoes are following Marcus Freeman around town.
Touchdown Jesus is praying.
Everybody's nervous. Touchdown Jesus now has his fingers crossed if you look really close. I don't know much about Cal, but I'm taking him.
Oh, wow.
I'm taking the 2-0 Cal Bears.
I hope Pat Mulligan is listening to this.
I hope he's not, but
he might jujitsu you to death.
He might jump on a couch and jujitsu me.
They're bad, dude.
There's no confidence right now out of this Notre Dame team. I don't.
What's crazy is I don't think you believe that Cal is good.
I don't, but I'm going with my eyeballs here.
Oh my God.
Marcus Freeman looks like a deer in headlights. He's the first guy to start 0-3.
He's got great muscles.
You want to talk about pressure? Yeah, he's an in-shape fella.
I wish I was built like him.
But he's in some trouble here.
Whew.
And I think it continues.
Let me tell you something. If you're right and they go 0-3, what's the spread on that game?
11. I'm thinking Cal plus 11, excuse me.
Well, you got 2 dogs this week, huh?
I may have more.
You're taking 2 dogs at least against traditional powerhouses that are not playing well. Well, one is playing well. You alluded to this game earlier on because Texas A&M lost last week to App State. Earth-shattering, earth-shaking loss. Miami is all creaming all over themselves because they think they got their head coach. I'm pulling another Lee Corso here, and I'm saying, not so fast, my friend. Listen, this happens. App State beat Michigan. Michigan went on to have a phenomenal season that year. They won a bowl game. They won a bowl game that year, right? They won their bowl
Florida.
game.
They beat that loaded Florida team, and I'm hoping.
Yeah. So let's not overreact too much. It's a horrible loss. You know they feel shitty about it. Texas A&M feels terrible. I think they know that they're a better team than this, and I think they're a better team than this. And I don't know that crystal ball one season at Miami makes all the difference in the world. Suddenly they're world beaters. Give me Texas A&M minus the 6.5 over Miami. I think they win by double digits. I think this could get ugly early, and Texas A&M never takes their foot off the gas. This might be a good chance for an action point bet. I can see them winning by 30.
Wow.
Because they got to show everybody that last week was a mistake. This is who we really are. Texas A&M minus 6.5. Give me Texas A&M minus 3 touchdowns. I think they win by more than 3 touchdowns. How about that? You want to do push-ups on that one, son?
No, I'll give you one. NFL we go.
Here we go.
I'm going to the Meadowlands, about a couple clubs away from here is where I sit. I like what I saw from Baker. I don't think he was great. I don't think he was terrible. I think he was in control. I think that game was a little wacky as well. Another emotional game for him. I think he'll expose the Giants defense. Giants defense still not great. Not great in the secondary. They got lucky with a week 1 win. They might maybe let down a little bit after that.
Yeah.
And I think finally this young Carolina defense steps up. We've been on this thing for 2 or 3 years now with all the draft picks they got. I think this is a good spot for them to shine. I'm taking the Panthers +2 with the Giants.
I really like this game. This was one of the games I wanted to take. I think if Carolina would have won last week, this probably would have been one of the games I took. But I think there's a little Baker hangover, wanting to beat his old team, blah, blah, blah. It scares me a little. I think you're right, though. I just wasn't ready to do it. Last year, Jacksonville, in the last game of the season, found a way to win that game, or Carson Wentz him individually found a way to lose that game and keep the Colts out of the playoffs. I know Carson Wentz is gone. I know Matt Ryan is the new quarterback, but I have to believe that most of the guys who are on that team that were there last year still have some lingering effect, some lingering anger, some lingering animosity towards Jacksonville, and I even like the fact that they almost got beat last week by Houston because it's almost like a wake-up call. So we got Colts coming off playing shitty against Texans, coming into a week where it's kind of like a revenge game, payback for last year. I like this game a lot. Give me the Colts minus 3.5 over the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Last one for me, Coach. We said it before. Tom Brady 0-4 against the Saints in the regular season as a Buccaneer quarterback.
Are you going to do it?
This has been the offseason of craziness for Tom. He retired for about 12 and a half minutes. Comes back. His wife hates him for coming back. She moved to Barbados or whatever the hell she's doing. Yeah. She didn't go to the game last week, even though they invited her, but she's wearing her jersey. It's a lot of drama surrounding Tom. I think everyone's going to be like, oh, Tom's bad against the Saints. Saints defense is still good, but this is the year he does it. In New Orleans, Tom Brady, minus 2.5, Buccaneers in the Superdome.
Scotty just pulled the reverse on me. He pulled the reverse. The only thing that scares me is that for 20-something years, the one thing you can count on with Tom Brady is there's no chaos. And there's just a little bit, although he put a lot of chaos concerns to sleep last week.
Yeah. His arm still looks great, doesn't it?
Oh, 45? My God, dude.
Oh, you can't throw it 12 yards, man. And he's older.
You should have seen me throwing a ball yesterday, dude. I feel good. Like I've been working out. I feel like I can, I can still sling it. I'm hurting today. I can barely lift my arm. I'm drinking like this, like I'm keeping my elbow down. But boy, was I throwing it yesterday. I think that there was a monster overreaction to the Denver Broncos losing last week. Russell Wilson threw for over 300 yards. Hackett made the bad decision. You got to leave it in Russ's hands at the end of that game. And even with 2 fumbles inside the 5-yard line, Broncos still had a chance to win that game. If they don't do that, which is very rare to see that, they win that game handily. And And now they got Houston coming to town. So you got the Broncos wanting to look better than they make up for what they looked like last week. Houston not feeling so good. They had that game wrapped up and they end up, it's a tie, which feels like a loss. I'm going to take the Broncos -10. I think this is a statement game for them. I think this is set up perfectly for the Broncos.
Wow.
You looked bad last week. Houston looked pretty good last week. Denver wants to look better than they did. Houston now has to hit the road after just getting a tie. Give me the Broncos -10. I think they win by 2 touchdowns.
Man, you went 4 favorites, man. Good for you.
I just
that 0 for 4 looking
if
right.
You look, if you look, other than NC State, it's a lot of like comeback, payback type games. Like not necessarily to pay back the team that they're playing, but like we looked bad last week.
I understand your logic. It's just
you're right. It's never a good idea to go with all favorites.
Yeah,
it's never good. I mean, favorites do win. I'm not saying that.
Well, listen, after last week, you might as well just throw it against the wall, see what sticks.
Listen, we probably should have just gone with what Pick and Pete. Although Pick and Pete went 0-2 last week too. So
yeah, it's not a good week for the Calisano boys.
He kind of took a year off and he got off to a slow start. But listen, if you're looking for picks, his picks are always better than mine. He usually hits at about 65%. I hit at about the other 35% that he loses. So those are our picks for this week. I feel good about mine this week, though. I feel good. I love that NC State game. I think NC State wins big. So I'll give you that one.
Good luck, Coach.
Yeah. 80 in the book, right?
Number 80. We are getting closer to 100, and I don't know what I'm going to do for our close after that.
We're going to have to do some kind of transition after that.
I got 5 names for you here. Number 5, 2-time All-Pro, 8-time Pro Bowler, 1990s All-Decade, Viking Hall of Fame wide receiver Chris Carter. All he does, Coach, is
not talk on TV anymore, but he used to only catch touchdowns.
Thank God. Yeah. There you go.
Where is he on TV? I miss him.
Who cares? Number 4, 2-time All-Pro, 7-time Pro Bowler, 2-time NFL leader in receiving yards, former Houston Texan wide receiver, and maybe Hall of Famer Andre Johnson.
No.
You don't think?
No. It's not a Hall of Famer.
Number 3.
He might get in because everybody gets in, but he shouldn't.
Yeah, 1985 All-Pro, 7-time Pro Bowler, 1980s All-Decade team. I think he's a congressman now. Seattle Seahawks Hall of Fame wide receiver Steve Largent.
He's not anymore, but he was for a while, yeah. He's
Number 2, Super Bowl 33 champion, 4-time Pro Bowler, Rams Hall of Fame wide receiver Isaac Bruce.
Excellent receiver.
And number 1, you're going to have to give me a half hour for these stats because it is bananas.
I was wondering when you were getting to this.
3-time Super Bowl champ, Super Bowl 23 MVP, 2-time Offensive Player of the Year, 10-time Pro Bowl, 10-time All-Pro, which is bananas.
All-Pro.
13-time Pro Bowler, 6-time led the league in receiving yards, 1980s and 1990s All-Decade. NFL records for
Wait, what did you just say? All decade?
80s and 90s.
Oh, my God.
NFL records for the following. Receiving yards, receiving touchdowns, total TDs, and all-purpose yards. Hall of Fame, 49ers wide receiver.
Jerry Rice. Oh, Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice. Good call. Oh, my God. What a stat line that is.
Crazy.
Good God. 10-time All-Pro. Are you kidding me?
Nuts.
Wow, I feel like so insufficient giving you an on this day in Yankee history. Like, really? I shouldn't even
Shane
bother.
Spencer, it's a home run
sign us off.
In Baltimore.
Oh, my God. On this day, September 15th in Yankee history, back in 2005, Robinson Cano started a streak in which he drove in 5 runs in consecutive games, becoming just the second rookie in Major League Baseball history to accomplish this feat. I bring this up because there are 2 players in my lifetime that I look at and I say the Yankees never should, like either the player or the Yankees made a mistake. I think Cano made the mistake in that case in taking a couple extra bucks to go out to Seattle where he got lost. And he was never the same. I think he would have been an all-timer with the Yankees. I think it was a big mistake on his part. I think he looks at it as a mistake too. The other guy, and this was more on the side of the Yankees that always bothered me that they made this trade. It was when they brought in Rodriguez and sent Alfonso Soriano packing. I thought that was a huge mistake. Soriano was a Yankee at heart. He loved being a Yankee. One of their in his time there was one of their best playoff performers. He never shrunk in big spots. He always stepped up, and fans loved him, and he loved being here. And he was never the same after he left the Yankees. Those two guys, Cano with the record with that little consecutive games with 5 RBIs, and Soriano, two guys that, man, it really, to this day, it bothers me.
And Cano had the perfect swing for Yankee Stadium too.
It was perfect.
My God.
Yeah, he was second baseman, batted. Was he a switch hitter or was he?
No, just lefty.
Just lefty. Like, it's beautiful. And for a couple extra bucks, I mean, it was the difference of making $225 million or $250 million. Like, come on, dude. You know, it was a mistake. And it was a mistake moving on from Alfonso Soriano. That one really stung me. When they did it, because I was never a Rodriguez guy in the first place. I didn't love the idea because I never thought he was a big time player. I thought he was a big time stat guy, but I never thought he was a big time
winner,
like big spot winner. Exactly. Thank you. So that one always bothered me. So, all right, my man, 80 in the book.
Well, listen, good luck with your picks. Good luck coaching the boys this weekend. And
we got our first game on Saturday. I'll let you know how it goes. I'm flying solo because the one guy who is my assistant, he is not able to make it. He has a full-time job, and he serves in the military. So wow. God bless him, and we appreciate his service. Yeah. He's so awesome, Mike Sheeran. So, but we'll see. You know me. I'll be nice and calm. I won't yell.
You bleed calm. Yeah.
And I'll give you an update on how it goes next week. For Scott Bracey, I'm Pete Colasano. You've been listening to Bump and Run, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Later.
Go Jets. I can't believe I just said go Jets.
Yeah, that was odd.
They're so bad.
You think they have a shot this weekend?
Yeah. I actually think it's a good bet to take the Jets because everybody's looking as like they suck.
I don't hate that call either. Yeah,
I think it's actually a good bet. I felt watching that game like real anger and like I'm just tired.
Yeah.
Like I don't always get like that. I just kind of accept that this is how it is. And I'm really just like tired. Like Zach Wilson hurt. Other players got hurt. Becton hurt. Like, you know,
I'm mad at myself. I should ask you this on the podcast, but what do you think of Salah's remarks this week that he's taking notes or whatever you said?
I guess I guess maybe as a former coach, I look at it like it wasn't received well in the media.
No.
I have no problem with it. I actually kind of like it.
If he was talking to the media and not the fans, I have no problem with it. If he's talking to the fans, fuck off.
I don't think he's talking to the fans at all. I think he's talking about talking heads who always have something to say. Like, I mean, you know, there's millions of fans. What fans would you be talking about anyway? Because I don't think it's the fans that I think Jets fans are kind of hopeful about this team right now. So I don't think that's it at all. I think it's the Michael Kays and I think it's the Colin Cowards and the guys at ESPN, the Stephen A. Smiths.
Rich Samini's and all these guys.
Yeah, I think it's those guys. Although Samini, I see his tweets. I don't think he's that harsh. I think he's relatively straight reporting.
I do feel you though. I do understand. Like you're just tired. Like it's just like when's the
anger wasn't even the right word. I'm just watching. I just, you know, the shoulders go down and you're just like, whatever. Like there's nothing worse than week one. You're looking at your team and you're like, whatever. Like even the Houston Texans, or the Bears, who I think might be the worst team in the league. Like you just look around the league. What other team right now, even teams who lost, Jacksonville, Houston, a tie. Like you just look around the league and you say, what teams are exasperated already?
Yeah.
It's the Jets are the only, maybe New England. Maybe New England fans are like, I don't know, man, this doesn't look good. They might be the only other team that I don't know. Maybe Arizona is a little.
I was going to say I could see Arizona maybe going the wrong way here.
I can see them. I can see because you're frustrated with Kyler Murray. He's just a weirdo, and there's injuries, and now they're playing a tough game.
And then you're mad at yourself. You extended this fucking idiot, and maybe you didn't want to, and that.
Yeah, like as a fan of Arizona, you're like, yeah, great, we got him for the next 10 years. I don't know how many people are like, thank God we locked them up. So, but I don't know if they're slumped shoulders and like, God, fuck, this shit just never like.
Yeah, I know.
It's tough. It's just tough. You know, I got to be honest with you. I'm grateful. I really, truly am grateful for the podcast when it comes to like the NFL, because just to sit here as a fan every week, it's rough. Think about it, dude. I don't watch my own team. I watch Red Zone.
Yeah.
Even when my team is on, I flip over, they turn the ball over. I'm like, fuck this. I'm watching Red Zone. Like, I don't want to watch the game. I don't want to watch the game. It's just exasperating. That's all. I'm watching. I get to my cousin's house about 2:15, 2:30-ish, and he's a Giants fan. So like we're watching Jets on Red, and I'm like, dude, this is brutal. And then the Giants game comes on, and they're not a great team, but they're playing tough.
Yeah.
And they're in the game, and they make a comeback. And you're like, oh, I think we got the right coach. Oh, the defense played well. Oh, Saquon. I think the Jets defense played pretty well, but I'm like, dude, got all these weapons, and I'm stuck with Joe Flacco. Like, and I don't even know if Zach Wilson's the guy, and I don't know if I have confidence in my head coach. That's like,
and now again, it's going to take 2-3 weeks to get Zach back going. It's like, like mid-October, you're fucked again. Circle the draft date, my boy.
This is what I'm saying. This is my life as a Jets fan. Mid-September, early October, who we drafting? That's brutal.
And then you'll win one in fucking December and not get the first or second pick.
Like you Broncos and Jets have the same record right now. We're not thinking the same things.
No, not even close. No.
We're not thinking the same things. You're thinking, dude, we were like 2 easy plays away from winning that game by double digits. If those 2 possessions instead of fumbling are touchdowns, you win by double digits. My team wasn't even in the game. Like, you're looking next week like we should win. I'm looking next week like, I don't know. We're not going to be favored in a game until week 12.
Who's the bright spot? Who's the bright spot on defense for you guys?
There was a bunch.
Sauce played all right?
Sauce played great. DJ Reed fucking great. Like,
our
corners are really good.
Yeah.
Our corners are really good. Jordan Whitehead was good. Like, came up and was sticking people, but I think he got hurt.
How was the D tackle, the kid from Alabama?
Quinnen Williams, good. Yeah. Their defense was good. Their defense was good. Listen, they gave up 3 points through 2.5 quarters, and then there was a turnover, and then they, you can't be on the field all the time. When your offense, I used to say this all the time when Tebow was quarterback in that year at Denver.
Yeah.
Do you remember they had it was a rough record in the beginning of the season, and then Tebow comes in, and I said, but what people don't understand about why they're playing better, like, why is their defense playing better? Like, their defense is the same defense as it was because they're not on the field all the time.
Right.
Even if you're punting, it was like first down, 3 and out punt, but it was 12 minutes in real time. So your defense actually got a and the other thing was because they were running the ball and Tebow was running, they were never turning the ball over. Mm-hmm. So their defense was never in a position of 1st and 10 at your own 27-yard line. 1st and 10 at your own 45. It was always 1st and 10 at the other 20. 1st and 10 at the other 17.
31, yeah.
Always the same. So it's like, it's a different thing. The Jets were constantly in short field. Even the first 3 points that they gave up, it was off a turnover. Flacco throws that turnover and right away, 3-0. Defense stopped them, but it's like you still gave up 3 points. Well, you didn't give up any yards. It's just I know the defense it was like the worst defense in the league last year, 30th ranked defense. You're constantly in a position of trying to make up for bad offense, and you can't do it forever.
No,
you can't do it. What they give up? 20 points? Was it 20-9?
Yeah.
Dude, every team in the NFL would sign up every single week to give up 20 points.
No doubt.
You'd give up. If you, I don't care who you're playing. Hey, would you come into this game, start the game off at 20-0, but the other team's not going to score any more points? Everybody would say yes. Every single week, especially the way the league is set up. If you could sign up to give up 20 points every week, you would do it in a heartbeat.
No doubt about it.
It's just frustrating. And it's just, you get tired. You just get tired. I'm not asking for Super Bowls. I just want to be competitive.
You're at Cleveland, home Cincy at Pittsburgh?
Yeah, it sounds
I think
that
right. Sounds right. Yeah, because my buddy's going to the Pittsburgh game from work. Jets, Pittsburgh.
I think they could have. I look back at that game. I think they could have won that game. I think they could. I don't think Baltimore's that good. I don't think because I think they beat a kind of bad offensive Jets team.
Yeah,
I don't think they're that good. I don't think Lamar. I stand by everything I've ever said about Lamar Jackson. I think he was exposed against the Jets, frankly. So he throws a long pass that goes for a touchdown. Dude, he's a fucking NFL quarterback. I'm not saying he's incompetent. Like he's a boob. Like he doesn't even belong in the league. I'm just saying, well, everybody says you can't do it. Nobody's saying that he's just throwing darts into the ground. We're just saying in a big spot as we always say, The other team knows you have to throw it. You know you have to throw it. Can you still throw it?
Right.
I have no evidence to say that he can do that.
None.
So none. So I stand by all that. But anyway, I look more forward to the Saturday games than I do to the Sunday games.
I hear you.
Sunday is my job. Saturday is my passion. How about that? That's a good line, right? I need a T-shirt that says that.
That's good.
All right, dude.
All right, brother. Good luck
I'll
this
talk to you
weekend.
later on.
I'll talk to you. All right, man.
You got it. Later.
Bye.